Let's look at a theory Japanese fans still talk about. Volume 68 SBS. Oda-sensei is asked directly, why won't Sanji kick women? He points to Zeff, the retsu-do. And for a second, that feels like a complete answer. It isn't, because the Japanese fan community grabbed one word and would not let it go. Pixiv Encyclopedia, Yahoo Chiebukuro, the forums. They all land on the same point. Oda-sensei did not write kerenai, won't. He wrote kerenai, cannot. One word apart, completely different argument. And that difference is where this whole debate lives. The logical fans are not subtle about this. Look at what Oda-sensei actually chose. Not kerenai. Kerenai. That is not an accident. His body will not allow it. The choice was taken from him before he was old enough to understand what choice meant. That lands harder than it should. But before I can sit with it, the emotional fans are already in. You're taking the most human thing Sanji has and turning it into a diagnosis. That's not analysis. That's just cold. And that's where it gets genuinely complicated, because they're not wrong to push back. In Japanese thinking around on, a debt of that magnitude doesn't become a rule you follow. It becomes the structure of who you are. Zeff severed his own leg to keep Sanji alive. That's not a lesson. That's a weight that never leaves. So the question isn't whether the vow is real. The question is whether Sanji ever had a say in it. And then this reading comes in from a Note.com piece and refuses to let either side feel comfortable. Zeff became Sanji's baseline for what sacrifice looks like. And that baseline is completely inhuman. Sanji watched a man destroy his own body like it was nothing. That becomes what normal looks like to him. Every beating he takes rather than raise his leg, measured against someone who thought losing a limb was just what fathers did. Sanji isn't honoring a vow. He's trying to deserve someone who set an impossible standard. Okay, that reframe changes where the cold analyst argument lands too, because suddenly their point hits differently. Everyone keeps calling it beautiful, but an enemy figured out he would never hit a woman back and used that against him. She walked straight into his blind spot and he just stood there and took it. That's not beautiful. That's a liability with a name on it. And look, part of me wants to defend Sanji here. But the cold analysts have a case. If the vow isn't a choice, then every time he takes that beating, he isn't being noble. He's being unable. Which is exactly what Chapter 1005 forces into the open. Black Maria. Sanji cannot fight his way out. He screams Robin's name across the entire castle. Loud, deliberate. The Japanese community split completely. Half saw humiliation, half saw the most honest thing he has ever done. But here is what neither camp could settle, and this is what keeps the debate alive. Did Sanji scream because the vow finally freed him to trust someone, or because it left him no other option? Those two readings bring us straight back to where we started. Keranai or kerenai, won't or cannot. And the Japanese fan community, after all these years, still cannot agree on which one is true. So let me ask you directly. When Sanji refuses to raise his leg, is he making a choice? Or is he simply unable to make any other one?